ARK Survival Evolved is one of the games that I've sunk the most amount of time to in my time playing video games. I've been playing this shit since 2015 along with a group of friends. And this is basically us loading up on the ARK Ascended 6-man small tribes official servers and deciding to do our best to take over a center server. There's plenty of PvP. This is 2 months worth of footage condensed down into the smallest video that I could. It includes grinding, PvP, and all kinds of little incidents that we find ourselves into. The conflict that we had to go through to establish ourselves on a server where everyone was 10 times bigger than us and 10 times more capable than us, with some insane PvP and some insanely fun times between me and my boys. We've got a pretty good relationship with everybody on the server now, and this is the first 2 months of footage that I managed to record. Just everything that we got into in that little bit of time. I hope you guys really do enjoy this, and I'm not sure how good this video is going to turn out or how long it's going to be, but if y'all do, make sure y'all hit that subscribe and like button because it has been a lot to record. This is my first time ever actually doing this, and this was over 400 hours condensed. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys what it's like to go from a beach bob all the way to an alpha tribe. As per usual for the early game, we're going to go ahead and try and get ourselves an RG. As soon as we get it knocked out, we'll get it tamed up. Now all we need to do is get a little bit of prime meat. Now that we got ourselves an RG, we're going to go ahead and meet up with our friend Poltergeist on Extinction.
I'm not in a good position right now. I need to know where a terminal is. The fuck is this? There's just a bird and like 3 other birds over here. Is this just like a bunch of tamed birds? Do you guys have 2 snow owls and 2 pteranodons just propped up on a rock? I think I found you. Turn to your right. Yeah. Alright. Come get infected. Accept the sickness.
Now that we had located our tribe members, or Poltergeist and his friend, we're going to go ahead and get tribed up, and we're going to get started trying to lay down a base. They had managed to tame up a few flyers while I was over getting my character and getting an RG started on the center, so we had a pretty good basis to build off of here. No base, absolutely no structures, but we had tamed, so it's time to make our way to the city. We had a rat hole that we were going to try and take over. We have no idea who's on this server or what's going on. Once verifying that the rat hole was taken, I decided to tame a centipede so we could go ahead and clear out the rat hole. After meeting up at the rat hole, we managed to get it cleared out with a little bit of work and got some beds placed down outside. Next, I started trying to get us some essential tames like a Dodic and an Ankleo, but in the process, one of my tribe members found a little hut that we decided to stop, take the time to raid. It was a little bit of profit, but very little work. Upon returning to base, I decided to go ahead and get a castroid knocked out for wood supply, and we went ahead and knocked out a fairly early game metal run using the Ankylo. Getting our first and only auto turret down for the night, I decided to call it quits for the night. It had already been a couple hours into the wipe, and it had already been a long process to get to this point, and we were all tired. Logging on the next morning to find that our base had been infiltrated, our one auto turret had been blown, and literally every single tame we had tamed had been killed. Nothing out of the ordinary, just ARK Survival Evolved. Logging on to find that our base had disappeared wasn't much of a down to our morals, because we pretty much expected it to happen overnight. But with that being said, we decided to hop back over to our actual server, which is the server that we've managed to build up on, our center server, and start up all over again over there. Considering I already had a boat, we had a good start.
Even. I think there's like 3 left out of about 40.
Can you not woodify my boat?
No.
It looks
Awesome.
horrible. Oh, that's not good.
At some point around here, we managed to get Apollo in the tribe. He joined up with us shortly after we got the raft established, and we went ahead and ran up to a bear cave to try and get something down to get metal going.
Bro, I have 1,000 weight and we are still almost full of weight. What the fuck is on you?
Not me, I swear.
I don't believe you.
Shortly after I would get these fabricators and smithies set up in this bear cave, we'd be attacked by a couple of people with pyromanes. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get footage of it. Me and Apollo ended up dunking them in the river and taking care of them with RGs. Miraculously, even with how broken pyromanes are, we still managed to hold our own. And then we managed to get over to the side of the waterfall under the center island and get a new base established. This one was metal. We put all of the resources that we were gathering into it and ended up leaving the bear cave behind.
Carson? Don't make me mail you a box of bed bugs.
The next day, we managed to get a bunch of flyers tamed up, and I spent a bunch of time in the ocean gathering silica pearls and oil so that we could go ahead and get the rest of the crafting station set up after we set up the industrial forge the prior morning. After taking some time to go get pyromanes, we decided to jump back over to Extinction to get our hands on some Volanosaurs. On our way back to base, after getting back from Extinction and hitting a green drop to get our Volanosaurs out, luckily I had managed to put the Velos in my inventory because we got attacked by our first actual person on the server that had some gear on us. This person attacked us with a common PvP strategy of tech suit and flamethrower. We were barely off the beach bobs, having basically one auto turret on the base and 2 velos in my inventory. We were not capable of taking this person on, so I decided to do an evasive maneuver. Poltergeist acted as a distraction, and I hit a wingsuit and gained as much speed as I could and headed back to base. This was our only chance to keep them from finding our base and from catching me with the velos. Next, we went ahead and made a trip over to Extinction to get a bunch of electronics so that we could go ahead and get some auto turns crafted up. Now that we had decided on a proper base location for our actual main base, we're going to go ahead and go clear out the rat hole. We'd got Shamari in the tribe by this point, and he took me over there. And we managed to get it cleared out and structures down so that we could take over. At this point, we needed to do a bunch of prefabbing, so we went ahead and got to work on that while Shamari and Apollo tried to secure our bloodlines. After doing the necessary trading to go ahead and get us set up with the base bloodlines we needed to get started and to make sure that we had dinos to work with, we went ahead and got to work on the main base. Getting our first bit of tech down so that we can transfer between the grind station and our main base helped a lot, along with getting grind tames like Inkleos and high level bugs to allow us to gather resources much quicker. This was a great boost to our ability to build up and our ability to get our feet dug in the ground on this very aggressive server. Anyone who plays official knows how important it is to fill your turrets with bullets along with your Teslas with crystals so that your defenses are properly set up. Went ahead and let Apollo and Shamari set up the defenses, and I started filling them with ammo. After getting main components of the main base set up, we went ahead and started claiming babies so that we could go ahead and get breeders established and personal dinos set up for PvP. Another main component of the main base was going ahead and setting up the greenhouse area along with the cooker so that we could go ahead and get crops for kibble and other necessities set up. We went ahead and got this established early along with water to the base so that we had access to all these resources without having to leave the base.
I'm for real gonna be mad if I go to get Waffle House and my goddamn grind pad gets annihilated while I'm getting foods. I'm gonna be very upsetty spaghetti.
I'm gonna eat those words because at the end of that little clip right there, I went and got breakfast, and in the time it took me to get breakfast, our grind pad had gotten destroyed, meaning that we were supposed to work out of the main base at that point. Luckily, I had went ahead and got a forge and a replicator and all the stuff necessary to work out of the main base in the main base, but we would be in there for a little bit up until a tribe called BPD would pull up on us and force us to place a tower underneath the base, forcing us to reveal ourselves and come out of our little hole. After a little bit of time had passed, we'd come to know that there was a tribe just around the corner from us that was fairly built up, but not quite as built up as we were, so we decided to approach with a rock golem and a blimp to do some soaking. There are better options, but we were having fun with it, so we decided to do this because it was retarded and it worked.
Shamari. The golem is getting fucking like, hold on, I got tech binoculars, let's see. Oh my god.
We would actually end up underestimating this tribe a little bit, as we had better resources and better stuff, but we were all acting like fools, so we ended up getting kind of clapped on that little attempt, and they did end up killing the rock golem and destroying the blimp after picking Jacoby. Now, I did refuse to help because I told them that I was just there to watch it, and I was being a little asshole, but in the end, what happened. So we went ahead and set up a little bit of a cliff flat fob next to their base so that we could attempt to push them a little bit and have some more PvP and fun. This is what happened. So we would end up engaging them in a bunch of air fights over and over and over. This would happen multiple times. And the majority of the times I would end up getting picked because for some reason you can fly into a wyvern and lose a pick fight. I don't understand wyvern picking. It does not make any sense. But either way, I was lucky enough to have a wingsuit and be able to move faster than them so that I could always get back to our base or our fob. Unfortunately, we did lose a bunch of wyverns in the process, but it's no big deal at this point. We had managed to get quite a few, and we just kept breeding them over and over. I was better with a mana, but in this location, you can't really use a mana for PvP. And at this point in time, the server would drop down on us, and we'd have to pack up and try again sooner or later. And this was the end of this. At this point in time, we would actually go ahead and swap targets to another tribe called SMD that had been attempting to bully us. Without success. They had managed to kill Apollo once or twice and do some damage, but at that point they were just an annoyance. We did manage to PvP them and back them off multiple times, and we went ahead to go finish one of their bases off. Our main base would have a lot of progress made to it over the next couple days, including our cryo fridge floor being finished and our greenhouse being grown. We would have multiple engagements with the original tribe that we had started PvPing against and attempting to raid over the next couple days, but eventually it would all lead up to a fob. This is just an example of us having a pick fight outside the base that led to me getting picked and just flying back to my little defense area. We would end up fobbing this base, and this is one of the greatest shots I think I've ever taken in my entire life.
From that distance, dude, I got the guy off the fucking pterodon! I shot the fucking dude straight off the back of the pterodon. I'm a fucking sniper, bro. I can't see shit with this long neck, and I hit that fucker dead on. Dude, I'm gonna kill this fucking bird now. Yeah, it's in the rep. God damn, bro. I'm straight up gonna get called a fucking aimbotter after those two shots, bro. I killed his pterodon. Fuck that dude. I had all this on video too, by the way, so.
A lot of the PvP we would end up getting into here was just a little bit of back and forth. They would take a higher ground and then we would end up stego pushing them and back and forth. We were building this little platform right above their base, so of course they wanted to get rid of us, but unfortunately they just didn't have what it would take. We would end up pushing them back into the cave and eventually wiping the tower that they had on the outside. Moving on from that raid, we would focus our attentions on the tribe of BPD. As we had been in contact with their leader and he was not very passive, we decided to take it into our own hands and we decided to push one of their bases. Having a buddy of mine that's very good at the game load into the server and do some scouting, he also showed us basically one of the weaknesses to an illegal rat hole. This hole is illegal because it requires tech armor to be able to get into. You cannot access it without tech boots because tech boots give you a little bit of a sticky effect to the terrain around you. If you don't have it, you can't walk in or out of this cave. So he showed us how to raid it, explained the entire situation to me, and we went ahead and tech grenaded our way in here. After Rev showed us how to grenade the tech turrets, we went ahead and made our way into the entrance of the cave, or little rat hole, and we took a tech rifle and knocked down the Jenny to the base. We would end up looting the base, getting a thylaco out in there, and meat running the entire base. They had tons of tames in here that we managed to take, not very much loot, and then they had a ton of tames out that we just went ahead and killed using a thylaco, a pyromane, and, you know, Rev with his flamethrower. After a lot more build up on the base between me and the tribe members, I would end up getting tired of doing poly runs with penguins, so I would end up heading over to Aberration and going ahead and setting up a full-on poly farm so that we could take the dire bear over there and get slot caps of poly, making the process much easier, much faster, and much less of a pain in the ass. Once again, as we progressed further, I would end up putting bullets in turrets that nobody else wanted to put bullets into, and putting shards in tech turrets so that our defenses were good. Most of our defenses at first were clustered up towards the top, but at this point I went ahead and spread them out between the cave to make things a little bit more even and a little harder for people to get up through and raid. When you have them condensed, they're easy to rocket run or grenade, so I went ahead and just spread them out far enough that it wouldn't be an easy process for someone to do. After finishing the process of making sure that the majority of our heavies and tech turrets had bullets in them, I decided to go ahead and meet up with Apollo and Shamari on another center server. They were hitting a raid on what essentially looked like a very juicy, easy target, as pillar bases have been obsolete for a very long time now. They're still slightly defendable, but if you're not online, you can't defend it, and they decided to hit an offline base to see if we could go ahead and get some loot. We also had a bit of encouragement from a random Bob in the tribe or the server that as soon as they noticed that we were raiding the base, decided to start telling us to absolutely destroy these people, as apparently they had a beef with them at some point recently. As you guys have probably noticed at this point, we tend to cycle through tribe members fairly often, as we have a larger group than 6 people that we play with, but there's only allowed to be 6 people in the tribe at a time, so when someone goes inactive, we do tend to replace them with someone else. We ended up having a buddy of ours, Wish, join up for a little while. He was in the tribe for about 2 months and did put in a good amount of work. It was at this point that we started needing to run Ellie a lot more often, as we had been burning through massive amounts of the resource. So me and Wish decided to go over and start doing Ellie on a daily basis. As each of my tribe members had already managed to raise a lot of tames and I had very minimalistic tames so that they could get theirs, I proceeded to spend the next upcoming weekend doing mass breeding. Wish did assist me with this at the time, and we took care of a lot of babies. I would end up hitting a few raids here and there, but some of the luckiest I got was finding these little vacuum chambers in Tuso Cave at the bottom of the center ocean. I would get multiple of these, having element, all kinds of recipes, and different items that we could use in future raids, at one point even looting 50 C4 out of one of these. We would end up finding another one of SMD's little outposts that they had built up near our main, and we decided to go up and rocket run it, get rid of it. After clearing out the top crafting station of the outpost, we then turned to the rat hole that was at the bottom of the tower, and after looting it, we were in the process of taking loot back whenever another tribe would pull up with a lightning wyvern from behind and cook the majority of my tribe. Luckily, I was able to get my Tapejara to safety and stay in the air. They attempted to use tech suits and lightning wyverns to get me, but I was able to evade all movement with the Tapejara. It's not the best tame in the world, and it's definitely not one you want to go up against the lightning wyvern with, because more than likely you will lose, but they do have excellent maneuverability, and as long as you're a good rider, you should be able to keep your distance and stay safe. This tribe that pulled up on us while wiping SMD would actually be known as Downies on Dinos. They were one of the 3 bigger tribes on the server that we knew about at the time, which there were actually more than 3, but these were the 3 main ones. They were always talking in chat. They were kind of like the server police. They were the smaller of the 3, but nonetheless they were much bigger than us. So engaging them in PvP was not always the best option, but they came up on us, so we laid them out. We ended up killing one of the guys and getting a full fob off of him and a couple wyverns at this point, and basically just throttling this little push.
Fucking problematic. Oh shit, I think I see the sun setting.
Yep.
Ready?
What if it order summons? It won't.
That would
It'll ask
be-
for a tribute.
Yeah, it would be amazing if it auto-summoned.
Oh. I've got 1 Therizinocle, 1 Spinosaur, 1 Tyrannosaur Tooth.
After that whole mess, me and Wish would end up taming a Dreadmere. This would be one of the very last things we end up doing together before he was sadly removed from the tribe due to inactivity, but nonetheless we got the Dreadmere tamed and it's a cool creature. At this point, I would end up meeting up with a buddy of mine named Pickle on Extinction to run drops with him and his tribe. His tribe wouldn't last very long, and the majority of them would end up quitting, so at the time we ended up removing Wish. Pickle would take his place. It was at this point that we were coming to the end of the first 2 months of footage. I really hope everybody enjoyed the video, as this has been a lot of work, a lot of hours of recording, and a lot of effort to edit. I hope that this video ends up turning out really well, and unfortunately this would be the last time you guys see Wish, and there would be about a month gap before I would actually continue to record, as I did not feel like recording. However, we're going to pick back up with part 2 later on. I promise that you guys will enjoy the next portion. We've managed to progress a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good day.